All right, welcome everyone. Good morning, California, and good evening, Finland. Welcome to Jumpstart The Market is Open. This event is organized by Team Finland, the Consulate General of Finland in Los Angeles, and Business Finland, and it is hosted by Innovation Home. My name is Outi, and I will be hosting this event. We have started the event already in Innovation Home Otaniemi with some tapas and a chance to network with other entrepreneurs. We have about 30 people there at the venue. And thank you for everyone who arrived to the live event. We're now starting the virtual event, and we are also live on Facebook. And here you can see the order of our guests. So we have an amazing array of guests coming up in this event. And we will have plenty of time for questions in the end of the event. So if you have any questions, please write them in the chat on Zoom or in the comments section on Facebook. And the live event guests will also have the possibility to ask questions directly from the experts. And once again, welcome to this event. And we hope you'll leave this event feeling even more inspired to continue expanding your business to the US market. And here to officially open the event is the Consulate General of Finland in Los Angeles, Okko-Pekka Salmimies. Please, Okko-Pekka, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Outi, for these welcoming words. And it looks like very cozy there in Otaniemi. I wish I could be there, but instead of that, I'm here in my office room, where you can see no palm trees or sea or beach, but you can believe that they're out there somewhere. I very much appreciate Innovation Home facilitating and hosting this event. We actually started to think to organize something in September, October, when we noticed and when we anticipated that the traveling restrictions will be lifted. And we also, of course, experienced the big interest and stimulation here in the US West Coast market, and we wanted to make sure that the Finnish companies are aware of the opportunities that this unique market provides. Very briefly, we want to highlight the removal of traveling and entry to country restrictions, but we also want to underline the unforeseeable massive infrastructure package, which was approved by the House of Representatives and Senate and was signed this Monday by President Biden. And on top of these two, we also want to make sure that especially Finnish companies who deal with clean technology and deal with bio and circular economy, with green transition in general, that companies are aware of the very interesting opportunities relating to the especially to Los Angeles area, but also West Coast in general, stimulation of comprehensive and consequent green transition. So, yes, the aim of this event is to give you companies there physically present and also virtually reasons to consider seriously choosing California as target market for your company. And we also want to provide you information about market opportunities in California. And we also very much appreciating that we can provide you an interesting and stimulating company case by Unikia. And very much we also appreciate that we actually can provide you lessons learned based on experience in working, studying and sparring Finnish companies. And this was especially provided by the UCLA Anderson School. And finally, information about the services that we can provide to you under the Team Finland umbrella. That means the Consulate General and our main partner, Business Finland. So my presentation, very brief one, will deal with 4 issues. First, a snapshot about what's happening in California right now in terms of economic growth and development, and some glimpse for future trends as well. And the second part has to do with teasers about business opportunities emerging in California, especially for Finnish companies. And the third one is a very short checklist considering what needs to be done, what needs to be in place when you consider a very rewarding but also a challenging market like California. And lastly, finally, a couple of words about the services we provide. And we have talked with my colleague Petri Hahti, Director of Business Finland for North America, and I hope this will also be a test that our presentations are mutually compatible and support each other. So we're happy to hear about feedback on this issue. Okay, very briefly, I want to highlight some of the issues here, why California is so special for Finnish companies. Actually, US as in general is the most important market for Finnish companies. It is number 2 when you look at the export figures, but it is the most important market when you take into account trade, investment, innovation, and value chains. It's not a monolith market. There are several markets inside of the US, but as a country, it's the most important. And it has also been quite resilient under the COVID paralysis, if we can talk about physical movement. And it is also very high on the world ranking list about doing easiness of doing business. It's actually number 6 when Finland ranks number 20 in the World Bank ease of doing business list. And not to forget that it is the most populous state in the United States with 40 million inhabitants, and it is no less than 5th largest economy in the world. And California is also punching very strongly when it comes to GDP growth. It's above average when you compare with other states in the US. Actually, the second quarter this year, the GDP growth was 8.1% in California, when the US average number was 6.3. And it is a huge nest or place for venture capital assets. Actually provides, according to statistics of 2020, provides 57% of total US venture capital assets located in California. And what I already mentioned, but I want to highlight throughout this presentation that it will be an extremely interesting state and area when the 1.2 trillion infrastructure, 1.2 trillion US dollars infrastructure deal starts to materialize in investment. And it's actually a couple of words of the infrastructure package because it very much matches the Finnish offering. As said, infrastructure understood in a very broad manner: high-speed internet, power, road, rail, water, ports, airports, infrastructure. So extremely a huge package that very much nicely matches very important Finnish offering when it comes to ICT technology, but also other machinery and equipment, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, clean and renewable technologies. So it's an interesting and massive package. And then a couple of words about Los Angeles and greening of Los Angeles County and City. There's already a couple of years old Green New Deal, which now starts to shape. And very many of these ambitious goals in Green New Deal package are actually similar to those that the Finnish government decided to undertake 3 years ago, or almost 3 years ago, when they started planning the government program. So the aim is to have to be carbon neutral by 2030, and there's also very ambitious aim to have city fleet vehicles to zero emission by 2028, and increase the share of renewable energy to 100% by 2045, and to get all vehicles to zero emission by 2050, and not the least to create thousands and thousands of green jobs. So what does this mean for Finnish companies and in terms of market opportunities? It is California traditionally, one can say that it has been a front runner as regards to sustainable development and also circular economy when we compare with other US states. And California is also the home of high tech, as we all know. The future of technology is made very much still here in California. And it is, of course, very known that it's a home of top-notch research, development, innovation with first-class universities and research institutions. So a very progressive climate and environment policies and regulations support also the interest of California for Finnish companies. But let's look a little bit about what challenges California face, because these affect business opportunities as well. The high political ambition of California is amplified by environmental but also social necessity. There are severe environmental problems here, especially air, water, land pollution, severe drought and lack of water resources, severe forest fires, traffic congestions, underdeveloped public transport, and as said, with progressive goals as concerning climate transition, these are actually the ones which provide Finnish companies opportunities, like to other companies as well. And California is ambitious also in electrifying transport, especially the transition to electronic vehicles. But I would also like to highlight one issue that is not that often mentioned, that California, when it comes to progressivity in politics, there are some interesting elements when it comes to equality and inclusiveness requirements in civil engineering and societal infrastructure planning. Finland has a very good experience when it comes to equality between regions, but also equality and inclusiveness between groups of people and areas, suburbs, etc. So another asset for Finnish companies and also government to business in California. And lastly, California is, of course, and amplifying these trends, is hosting the Olympics in 2028, and that means a lot of infrastructure work, which is necessary in order to organize the games successfully. We shouldn't forget the very interesting and very important fact that California is also hub of the global logistical and supply chain crisis. And it is actually in the eye of the storm right now. California has the two largest ports in the United States, Los Angeles and Long Beach. And this is, of course, it's a challenge for all international companies and export import, and it is the main news in daily newspapers. But we should look at the other side of this coin, because when you think of solving these problems, the logistical and and supply chain problems, they need to be solved. And luckily, from the Finnish side, we have technology, we have innovations, and we have companies that provide interesting solutions, part and comprehensive solutions to these kind of problems. So it's an opportunity for Finnish business as well. And it's an issue that we're working on in several ports in the west coast of the US. And I promised you to give a brief checklist for Finnish companies. I'm sure that this is a very simplified one when it comes to more refined presentations by Jeff and colleagues, but nevertheless, I will use the opportunity to provide this as a teaser. It's not a market, California is not a market for quick wins. It is a rewarding but very challenging market, and homework needs to be done properly. There needs to be enough resources allocated by the company to enter and to remain in the market. And you need to have especially sufficient sales and marketing capacity in order to proceed here. And if you consider entering the market without physical presence, it might become difficult. I'm sure Jussi Mäntynen from Unicare will give an interesting example. And again, let's not forget the fact that the United States is not a single market. You have a uniform custom duties when you import from Finland, but you don't have a unified regulation in California with other US states. Time, money, local expertise, presence, and support support and commitment by the board of the company. These are needed. And finally, the fourth part, very briefly, Team Finland network as a whole is at your service. Ministry for Foreign Affairs works based on a commitment to serve all Finnish companies, palvelulupaus in Finnish. And we take this commitment seriously. So we are here to help you together with Business Finland. And especially we can provide you contacts and networks, number one. Number two, we can provide you market opportunities and concrete business sales. And number three, we are also here to advise you and to solve problems. Having said that, you need to do the business, of course, and we cannot do everything. And there are some limits when it comes to market, service, etc. But let's talk about that when the time comes. And I really encourage Finnish companies to seriously consider entering the Californian market. But let's do our homework first. With these words, thank you very much, Outi, and I'm happy and ready to answer some immediate questions and also if there will be later on during the Q&A session. Thank you.
Thank you, Okko-Pekka. And next up, our next guest will be Jussi Mäntynen from Unicare. This is a Finnish success case, so we are happy to hear from you, Jussi. You're welcome.
Excellent. Am I going to share the presentation or is it coming from your side? So I can share the presentation as well.
Yes, please. Thank you.
All right. Super. All right. Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm Jussi Mäntynen. I'm General Manager of Unique Inc. based here in California, Palo Alto. It's my pleasure to be here today and talk about a little bit about Unique, but also how to do this kind of market entry by using services from the Finnish Business Finland and UCLA point of view. And let's go to the presentation that I have here for you. So first, there's like one slide, a little bit about what is Unique and why we decided then to go to US. And I believe there's this could be matching to several companies who are now sitting there in Otaniemi, for example, small and medium-sized enterprises. So basically, while I joined 2018, we had like 70, 80 people in our company, and we have been selling services. And on services side, that we were able to sell these people to work with different kind of companies. We have been developing our own tech, like our own IPs. And at the time that I joined, we were thinking that there's we try and take this to the US, because that time I was living in Dubai and I had been there 15 years. So just like you guys, I had not been in the US and how to do the market entry. So that was like a big question, and what could be like correct customers for us. At this moment, Unique is in a couple of countries, because the biggest vertical for us is automotive. So we are in Sweden and Germany and Poland, and also in Finland and Estonia. But now then on the US side today, we are talking about the US operations. And while I started, we had like one person, and now we have 5. So then we have been getting a bit bigger as well. All right, so let's then talk about this UCLA and market entry and how to use this. So the big part here, if you think about this, that I was in Dubai and thinking to bring Unique to USA, how to do this offshore. And I believe this in many cases you have the similar kind of situation, because you need to have a working visa here or green card, or you need to have like a native people from US that you are able to do these operations. And this was like a big thing for us, and I believe this is a big thing for several other companies who are thinking to come to US. So by doing this kind of GAP program with UCLA, you are able to do that still from Turku or Kuopio or Tampere or any other place in Finland, and then the team will be working here in US. So then this is the first big thing. And now on our side, while we had been selling these services, and I mentioned already that we had multiple products on our side, while we were able to show our competencies, we had also the case that we had been emphasizing like the artificial intelligence and sensor fusion and machine vision type of things. And because of this thing, we needed to do now also pitching then for the students on the UCLA side. And after our own pitching and this video that we published, then we were able to get like this kind of world-class team, which was exactly matching to the things that we had on our side. And we were really like surprised about this kind of thing, how on earth it can be possible. So we felt that we probably had the best team. Maybe the other companies felt the same way, but I'm just like giving an example here is that, of course, there was this faculty advisor who was from the IT sector, that he really understood that what was happening there. But now, while we have the picture about the team members here, on the left side, the first guy is Matt he was a senior consultant from Deloitte. Then the next one is Mike. Mike was a manager from Ford. Then there's Rob. Rob was an investment banker. Then there's Fiorelli, and Fiorelli was from Amazon. Then Kim from Facebook, and then finally there was Kevin, and Kevin was orchestrating symphony orchestra. So basically there was like a lot of diversity, but also from our point of view, while we were like providing the services traditionally in Finland, and then we had like these things with the self-driving cars and artificial intelligence and that kind of thing. So we had like a team which had the similar competencies and understanding already from the marketplace. So that was really like amazing. And now then what happened was that while we started to do this work, of course there was this research project that the team was doing, but the big thing for us was these interviews. So now the team was doing interviews for us, both in the US, but also in Finland. So they came to Finland as well, and they were meeting our customers, competitors, employees, that they really got like understanding what is happening with our tech, with our people, how we are positioned on a marketplace. And then if we start to think about this, what I already mentioned here, that we had multiple projects, different kind of like products in our company. So the big thing was here that what could be like a low-hanging fruits, what could be then the solutions that could bring fast revenues. So then out of our products that we had like a different kind of things, simulators and inspection tools and monitoring tools and like sensor fusion type of things. We selected finally, after certain research and understanding from the marketplace, 2 things that we started to take further. And then while we are thinking about the verticals, in Finland, we have a lot of verticals. We had like agriculture, marine, military, public transportation, forestry, different kind of things, maritime. So then the big thing was that also while they were doing the pre-analysis for the US market, then we ended up like 2 verticals that we started to then check further and to part of the research program or project. And then, of course, the final thing would be like, in a nutshell, that what would be the competitive advantage for selected products. So all that kind of very tangible questions. And now, if you think about this, that at that time we were not in the US, we were doing that offshore, and the team was working with these kind of things. So then it's exactly like a fantastic thing, because it takes some time to get your working visas in place, that you are able to come and start to do the work here. And this will take like a half a year. So from that perspective, that while we got our papers ready, we had already like a report or business plan how to go further. All right, so let's go to the next slide. And this is something that I want to highlight now. So this is the front cover from the final team primary research report, but just like taking something out of the report, and why it's so significant here is that, first of all, of course, we didn't know what to expect. But after we had seen our team, we knew that, okay, the team might be very good. And the full report is like 342 pages. So it's like a massive. And then the time that the team was really doing the work here, and they were meeting these different kind of stakeholders, they ended up with the 161 interviews. That's like a massive amount, that if you would have been thinking that I would have been here in the US and trying to do the same thing, it would have taken at least 1 year from me. And still I would have not been able to do all that kind of stuff, because now the big thing was here that they were using these alumni from the UCLA who were willing then to discuss with the current students that they were able to pass this task and get a good grade. So from that point of view, we got like really nice discussions via the team and understanding what is happening there. And a couple of figures inside of the interviews, what is like important for you, what you are thinking about this kind of GAP program, that could that be like working for you? So out of these 161 interviews, almost half they met in person. So they spent like, let's say 30, 40 minutes with the people and really like getting good discussion and screening about our possibilities on the US side. Almost 80% of all the interviews that they did happened in US. And as you can see that there's also like a 15% that happened in Finland. And the big thing here is also that we organized that with the way that they went and met also our customers. So they really got the feedback from the work that we had been doing in Finland, and that was really good. And then out of these 161 interviews, what is also quite interesting is that 36 of those were with the potential customers. And actually, even though it's not like the goal of the GAP, but I got several pitchings from this directly, with the way that I was able to have direct conversations with these customer cases, and that was really like a surprise for us as well. On top of that they had these interviews, then they did the 6 trade shows for us, and I just put those here so that you are able to see that while we were trying to find also that what could be the verticals for us. So you can see here that we have a drone trade shows, then we have maritime exhibitions, we have agricultural things, we have artificial intelligence, we have automated driving type of things, and even then they did like one Oakland Port of Oakland tour, which is one of the biggest harbors. Oki was mentioned already that Long Beach and Los Angeles harbors, but Port of Oakland is like a third biggest. So then that's also like that was like a really good for us, and that happened with the way that those people, they were also alumni. So that was really amazing. And on top of these things, that these interviews and trade shows happened, and we got like that maybe 10 inches of material and all that kind of stuff from those trade shows. Of course, then the normal research project was also happening there, and then they were doing the normal MBA stuff on that side. But I just want to highlight this thing here, that being outside of the United States and doing the market entry and the real research, that what to do and where could be like the low-hanging fruits, the team was really performing like a lot of work, and it was extremely good quality. And of course, while the team leader in this case was a senior consultant from Deloitte, of course, that was also pretty much visible that the outcome was like world class. And then I want to give you like a insight about this, that why this report was also like so important. So let's go inside of these interviews here. Then if you think about now your company there in Finland, that how this could benefit for us. So let's go to this blue part here, which is the industry expert. So 53 out of those 161 interviews were industry experts. So they were really getting like screening about our offering and chances and what we were doing from those experts. And of course, then there were also potential partners and customers and competitors and these other things. But the industry experts, I want to highlight this, but because these were the old alumni, and then they were really honestly answering to these questions that the students were asking while they were doing the research thing. And this is like one of the key advantages here. And then the next part, what we have here is just showing this, that while they were doing these interviews, that it was really like a top-down or bottom-up, with the way that you have from the software development all the way to the executives, all these different like layers in a companies. And because of this thing, we really got like a tangible results. And on our side, it was really good because in US you have this fail fast, fail often. And in our case, of course, while we got these results, we realized that what were the things that we needed to change. So now while we started to do the market entry, instead of like me interviewing all these people and trying to find these verticals, we had like a direction where to go, but also then we understood that what were the things that we need to modify in our offering. So on the next year, while we're really executing this plan that business plan that we got, then we were able to get really like a real revenue already from the US, because we were able to go directly to the right point. And then I have a picture for you that how does our offering look today. There's an example for our 5th generation network here. I'm just showing you this is the latest and greatest in case it works. Let's see. So basically, now you can see there's a text on the wall, automated valet parking. This is like one of the things that we have been now developing with our tech here. So all these cars which are driving, they don't have any understanding. The intelligence is on the cloud, on edge. It's like on a market side now, we are using the 5th generation network here to get the connection to the car and then steering these cars. So in the future, while you go to the mall or the airport, you can just leave your car and then your own car with the current features, it doesn't have any intelligence, will then park itself, does the charging and washing itself and all that kind of functionality. So this is just like an example about this thing that instead of like fighting all the fights, we went directly to the correct place because we were able to get that kind of tangible guidance that what could be like a good case for us. So after saying that, from my point of view, and on behalf of Unique, I want to thank all of you that we were able to be here today. The idea on our side was to talk about this collaboration with the UCLA and GAP program, how you could utilize this and use in your market entry, because if you do this properly, you will really get like world-class results, which would otherwise be extremely costly to get similar kind of results, and still it could be possible that you would not be able to reach the same because the students met the previous alumni who were willing to be totally honest and let them to get the good grades. So we are really pleased about this collaboration and we found this via the Business Finland. So that was a big thing for us. So thank you. Kiitos paljon. That's all.
Thank you, Jussi. That was very interesting. You have a great product there. So next we have Mr. Jeff Shinerock telling us about the Global Access Program. So please, Jeff, welcome.
Well, thank you very much. I don't know what I have to say now. He said everything. So thank you for the compliments about UCLA. I'm really fortunate and happy to present to you. I'm going to talk to you quickly here about the program a little more in detail, what you can expect. Also tell you about some other things that we're doing. And there's a short 2-minute video that's embedded this. I will do this quickly, so I won't bore you. And hopefully you will enjoy, and I'm happy to answer any questions. So I'm an assistant dean and faculty director of all of our applied management programs, of which the Global Access Program is one, and the one that Finland has been participating in for 24 years. So UCLA is a top university in US News and World Report. We're ranked 5th in the US for 2022. and we were ranked 6th in The Economist in the world. So top notch program. We have several programs. Finland and a lot of countries have been working for 24 years in global access. That's our for our fully employed MBAs. We also have the applied management research and for our full-time students, which runs September through March. Global access runs June through December. Our executive MBA program runs January through June, and then we also partner with the University of Singapore and run February through August. And we've opened up these other programs. The quality is the same. I'm responsible for all of them. In total, I have 850 students this year and 60 of these faculty advisors that were mentioned. We've worked really closely with Timu from Business Finland. He's been a tremendous partner. Petri also, tremendous partner. And we couldn't be more happy with our relationship with Business Finland. There's a process that we go through pre-project and project phase. When we're interviewing actually Timu and his team and my team this week on Monday and Tuesday. For our time, we were on at 3 a.m. Interviewing companies for next year's program. So we discuss the projects, we work with Business Finland, decide who's prepared to and ready to submit applications. The students bid on the companies that are accepted into the program. We match, as was described, hopefully the best team with the skill sets, with the best faculty advisor. Then we go through the project phase, which is the launch. It's a 3-day event at UCLA. The last 2 years, it's been remote due to COVID. I'm happy to say our final presentations for this year are on December 4th, and I understand quite a few of the Finnish companies will be coming to Los Angeles for that now that restrictions have been lifted. The research.
Excuse me. I'm very sorry, Mr. Sharnrock, to stop you. Are there supposed to be slides? We seem to have a little technical issue.
Oh, you don't see them? I'm looking at them.
Sorry, let's pop into the slides. If it's hard to get them up, I also have a backup here, so I can present them when you tell me which slide.
Okay, so why don't you put the slides up, because
yes,
I'm sharing. I apologize. I thought they were on my screen. Do you have a backup there, or if not, I will try to share again. Tell me if they're up. Let me share now. Let's try it again. Hold on. You see those? Can you see it? Can you see the screen or not? Okay, that's the slide I'm on. Okay, so as long as you can see the slide. So this is the project phase. The research was described in the previous discussion and the analysis, and then we provide the final results. Are you controlling, or am I? If you're controlling, you can go to the next slide. Okay, so these are not really students. These are mid-level executives in all of our programs, but for the fully employed program, teams are usually 5 members. They're average of 30 years old, 9 years work experience. A minimum requirement is 125 interviews. Previous speaker said they did 161. And 30% usually have advanced degrees, and they have experience in every industry. Next slide, please. So the market research prior to the company launch, which is held in July for the GAP program, the students do extensive secondary research with our librarians and databases and things that we have available at UCLA that are pretty expensive that most companies can't afford. so that when they meet with the company executives at the company launch, they're knowledgeable of the industry and the company. And then after the company launch, they do extensive primary research. And the objective here is to give data-backed recommendations. The students go where the research takes them. Sometimes the answer is, don't come to the US, or your product isn't competitive in the vertical that you're trying to go into. Those are good results, okay? They're good results because it can save you a tremendous amount of money, but usually when it's a no-go for what the original scope was defined at, the students will give alternatives and recommendations that if you are going to come to the US market, how you do it, where you're located. And so again, this is the equivalent to the master thesis paper that a lot of universities use. We use these field studies or these projects for the master thesis. Next slide. So the program deliverables, what do you get at the end? You get an investment quality strategic go-to-market plan or business plan. You get a comprehensive set of financial projections that shows you what, based on the recommendations, what the cost will be and what the potential return will be for your company if you make those investments. You'll get actionable recommendations or implementation of how to come to the US or whatever else the scope of the project is. At the very end, at the final presentations, which again, for the current year, we're doing December 4th. It's a 20-minute presentation to 3 outside professional judges that we recruit with knowledge of the specific industry. And then a 20-minute Q&A by those judges. And then the students, the judges, and the executives meet to discuss the overall presentation. You also get a redacted summary of all the research, redacted in that when we tell people that unless you give permission, the interviewees, we will not share your particular name with the companies, but many of the interviewees say you can share my name, my company name, and that's how you get, you build your network for when you come to the United States. Next slide, please. Okay, so what are your commitments? We ask that you have 2 dedicated liaisons to meet with the team remotely. We recommend meeting weekly or every other week, and the company could project that they're going to spend on average 1 to 2 hours supporting the team's requirements for getting information, talking to management, working with you on the direction of the research. Companies must share, to make it meaningful, key financial, marketing, and strategy data. We use that financial data to build the comprehensive financial models that you get. All participants sign a non-disclosure agreement. We've never had a problem in the 24 years of GAP, and the applied management program is we've been doing it for 54 years. There's never been any breach of confidentiality. UCLA takes this very seriously. And we require that the company possible come for the company launch, and then also for the final presentations. Now, I can tell you the last 2 years, because of COVID, the students were disappointed and were not allowed to travel to the different countries that participated. However, we were pleasantly surprised that the research didn't get hampered. In fact, more people were available to do interviews remotely. This year, the students still couldn't travel to the foreign countries. However, they were able to travel to conferences in the US once travel restrictions were lifted. And we're hopeful that this next year, 2022, that we will be able to have the students travel to countries and anywhere else their research takes them. Next slide, please. So we came up with some criteria. This is just a guide. We have startups, we have billion-dollar revenue companies. They're all over the place. But we realized that unless the participant didn't have a product or service that was ready to launch and actually was launched in their home country, that they were too early and they weren't ready to come to the US. So we look for companies with revenues exceeding 1 million US. As I said, we have very large companies, and we also allow accept companies where the timing's excellent, management's excellent, and they may not have that kind of revenue yet. We ask that if possible, that the company's positive cash flow and is funded so that if they like the recommendations, they can act on them and have the wherewithal to actually fund coming to the US. Also, we found companies with less than 10 employees really didn't have the bandwidth to work with the students over the 6 months that the project goes on. And hopefully the companies are prepared to come to the US. We do projects where the students can study other markets, but the bulk of all the projects are market entry projects into the United States. Next slide, please. So we've worked with Business Finland for 22 years. 243 companies have gone through the program, and 1,215 students have worked on these projects. So we have a long history. The program is recognized worldwide. And we're very proud of the relationship. Business Finland is our strongest relationship in the Global Access Program, and we hope to extend it to the other programs also. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is a short video of testimonials, I hope. I don't see the little thing there. Uh-oh. Oh, there it goes. Okay. And I'll let others speak for us. You need the sound. You need to make the sound louder, please. This is the last slide, by the way. So.
I'm very sorry. It seems like we are going to have this.
Well, there it is. There it goes.
Does it work without audio?
No. Okay. So basically what this was, several companies from Finland and, I hate to say it, Sweden, we had testimonials from the executives, but basically the summary of all of this was what the prior speaker talked about. The results, that it was worthwhile participating in the program. And we can go to the next slide since the sound isn't there. And we'll provide this to you if you we can send this presentation to those who are interested in it with hopefully a link. Chelsea and I are here to answer your questions, to work with you through the process if you're interested. We're really happy that we were given this opportunity to speak today. And by the way, for the final presentations on December 4th this year, the Consulate General has been kind enough to host a big event after the final presentation. So we'll be going to the consulate's residence. So we really appreciate that. And I'm happy to answer questions at the end of the presentations today. And sorry about the malfunction of not being able to share and no video, but hopefully you get the gist of it. And I'm extremely proud of the program and looking forward to working hopefully with several of you that are in the audience.
Yes, thank you so much, Jeff. That was very interesting. And we were so happy to hear that. Let's see for our next presentation, once I get these presentations out of here. All right, perfect. So if you have any questions for Mr. Shinerock, you can ask them in the end of this event. So just a second, once there seem to be a little bit technical difficulties also on my side, but that seems to happen sometimes. It's all right. So finally, we have Petri presenting for us. Petri seems to already have his slides up there, so please go ahead.
Thank you, Outi, and thank you for this opportunity to present Team Finland, Business Finland services. So my name is Petri Hahti, and I'm the Senior Director, Head of, or Region Head for Business Finland in the US. We are working together with Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and it seems that we have a very similar approach to hey, what's happening here. Can I? Okay, now. So my agenda is that first I'll go a little bit about these market entry basics when you think about US, and here really we are working together with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs because we have very similar points on that. Then I'll present the Team Finland, who we are, and then how we can help you, and that is our services. But first of all, there are some points which I wanted to also point out, which you should take into consideration when entering United States. So as Okko-Pekka also said, it's a big country, it's a continent actually, and it's not a single market. There are different taxes, different rules in the states. There are 50 states, so keep that in mind when you're thinking about US as your next market. Also, this homework is very important. You have to be prepared and also like in Jeff's presentations, he mentioned that you need to have already resources to come over to states. It will take you more time and it will take you more money what you expect. So the commitment to the investment is very important. And as Okkis mentioned also, the board has to approve that plan and have focus. I have very often said that in Finland, it's okay to have a shotgun strategy. But when you come to the United States, you have to have a sniper strategy. You have to know what is your target audience, what are the customers you are looking for. And also, I would recommend that think about the geographical focus. Don't try to take the whole US at the one time. Cost-efficient ways of establishing companies. So this means that you don't always have to start with establishing a real company. You can start with co-working spaces. There are soft landing platforms. There are accelerator programs which you should evaluate when you are doing your plans. And networks. You cannot overestimate the networks and the meaning of the networks in United States. It's about whom you know and who are talking about you and with whom you can discuss things. So who are we here in US as a Team Finland? Here you can see where we are by location, and clearly, of course, here in Los Angeles, Ministry of Foreign Affairs has focus on esport and gaming and entertainment, clean tech. We are in Silicon Valley, where we are focusing on consumer business, food, and ICT and clean tech. But and then we have New York and Washington offices as well. So we are covering the whole continent. And even if your own sector is not mentioned here, don't worry, we will always help you over the basics. Don't let that slow you down. Then just shortly our West Coast team, and for those who are in the consumer business, there are our export advisors in Silicon Valley who can help you, and then we have, of course, also digital knowledge and understanding in Silicon Valley. But it doesn't really matter whom you contact; they will then connect you to the right person if they are not able to help you themselves. Here's the Washington team. I'm not going to go through them person by person, and then we have our East Coast team here in New York. So then when we go to our services, and the advice is, of course, our bread and butter. We challenge the companies to find, and we challenge the companies in their strategies and market entry plans, and then we try to find a solution how to go forward together with the company. And we recommend very often to use commercial consultants to finalize those plans. We are not consultants, but we challenge and advise you how to go forward. And like Okki said, this networks and the contact is very important part of our work to help you find the correct partners to discuss your next steps. We also provide local knowledge and local basic information about the culture and operating models. You can find, for example, from our website, doing business in the US. There are facts and guidelines and useful links for you, which you can use in your market entry. And then the market information, which Okki also mentioned already, we are together with Ministry of Foreign Affairs identifying and verifying business opportunities and sales leads for Finnish companies. And here on the next slide, you can see the most recent ones which have been published on the marketopportunities.fi website. You can also find country outlooks from this website. Then, as I mentioned, we work closely with different consultants and industry experts. We have also this expert search online service where you can find different experts in different sectors and use them for your plans. And then we have also published this Select a Consultant guide, so that when you are planning to have a project with the consultant, you can use that as a tool to make sure that the project is bringing those benefits what you are looking for. So it's really targeted for your problem and your targets. Team Finland visits led by Finnish government ministers and senior officials, they are a very good way of getting access to contacts and networks which might otherwise be difficult for you to reach. But of course, to be able to utilize those visits, you really need to have good preparations. You need to know whom you need to meet and how you present your case. You have to have this homework done there as well. Then some new things we are launching next year, an export campaigns. It will be a agile way of taking advantage of existing market or sales market opportunities, business opportunity for the Finnish companies with the existing Finnish offering, and the target is to have real business cases after 1 or 2 years project. And then this ministry memorandum of understandings, which Minister of Foreign Affairs is doing on state level, those are very good possibility for companies to have cooperation with universities and R&D institutes here in the US, and of course with American companies, to see what kind of possibilities there are for common joint projects and businesses. And the most recent one was signed in Washington with Washington State. Then we talk about these US specific services. Okay, we have these market access programs like the GAP, which has been presented here many times, and we are very happy to work together with UCLA on that. Then we have also this cooperation with Berkeley Haas on the International Business Development program, where 1 or 2 Finnish companies with their strategic business projects have been participating, and the MBA students have been working on those projects. Nordic Innovation House is an important way for us to cooperate with the Nordic trade promotion organizations. In Silicon Valley, we have a physical face where also our people are sitting, and with those houses, we run different kind of programs. In one of the, let's say, let's say sort of Think is one of those which has been running the longest time, and it's an intensive 4-week accelerator program to validate the product market fit and global scale potential. And then from Business Finland, there's also funding available for Finnish companies. So it's important to understand that the funding is meant only for Finnish companies, and those has to be registered in Finland. Funding can be either grant or loan, and we are sharing the risk. So this means that if you have a project with a high risk and then that fails the project, the R&D project is not successful, it can be switched from a loan to a grant, and we bear the cost in that case. But of course, we hope that most of the projects are successful, and we don't have to switch to the loans to grants. But we take the risk anyway, and we encourage companies to have this risk feature in their project. And we will not, we are not accepting ownership in the companies. And here is the whole set of instruments, funding instruments, what we have. I'm not going to go through them in detail. Just a couple of words about this Explorer family. There we have products for single companies. There's this Market Explorer, which is meant for purchasing expert services. For example, if you are doing a market research or partner search, that can be partially funded by Business Finland. And then Talent Explorer is then a tool for companies to hire an internationalization expert, but that expert has to be hired to Finland. So he or she will work in Finland for you on the international markets. Initially, this was intended for companies to hire the university students after they have graduated from the universities to stay in Finland. But you can use it also for other international experts. And then for the group of companies, we have the Exhibition Explorer, which is the traditional support for companies to join the trade fairs. And that is now again relevant because the trade shows are happening in person next year, most likely much more than this year. But it's been very used funding instrument from us. And then the Group Explorer is for evaluating joint business opportunities. There, for example, if there are health tech companies who want to study a certain state and the healthcare system there, they could create a joint plan and have an expert to do that work and apply Group Explorer for that kind of project. But I went through this very briefly because I think that the most important thing is, again, to be in contact, and we can analyze what your situation is and how we can help you. But I hope that you got a general overview of the services, what we have as a Team Finland. And here are my contact details, so please be in contact, and let's take your business forward in the US. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Petri. It's amazing that we have services like that for people in Finland. But next, we have a couple of minutes to tell you about Innovation Home. So what is Innovation Home? In all its simplicity, Innovation Home provides office services. These services can be cost-efficient co-working spaces, event services, and also a platform for growth. It's always exciting to be talking in an event that is directed towards entrepreneurs, since Innovation Home was also just a dream that our founders had. It was a dream to change work culture. So our founders here, Petra and Katja, they wanted to create a place where you can grow your business, taking care of your own well-being, also your employees' well-being, save time and increase revenue. And as there was mentioned earlier here, that actually co-working spaces are very cost efficient. So it is a great chance if you're looking to expand your business, for example, to Los Angeles. So we have one of our offices in Los Angeles. So we have grown from a pilot of 40 companies to a business with 8 office locations and a virtual platform. So there comes to saying that we have 9 locations and 1 community. So we have these locations in Finland. We have Otaniemi, Kallio, Arabia, Tampere, Levi, and Kamppi coming up, but we have also offices in Singapore and Los Angeles. So we have a global reach. If you need any help going to the US market or the Asian market, we have boots on ground. And actually, I would like to present to you our boots on ground in Los Angeles. So we have here in the webinar also Leena and Sirpa. They're in Los Angeles. Can you hear me, Sirpa and Leena? Still, you're on mute. If that doesn't happen at least once during a webinar, it's not a webinar.
It should be okay now, right?
Yes, I can hear you. It would be wonderful to hear from you guys. Who are you and what are you doing Innovation Home Los Angeles?
I'm Leena. I'm sorry about the noise. That's why we are a lot of birds. It's just okay. So okay, I have lived in Los Angeles for over 23 years, and the whole time I've been involved in business development, and it's always been medium or small companies, always import export. And when I look back 30, 40 years of my work career, I think that when I say in business development, I think actually 70% has been problem solving. And that's why it has, of course, sharpened my skills sets a lot, but I do appreciate truly what I hear, how much help there is now available for Finnish companies that want to enter the North American market. Because those problems that I tried to solve for 20 years or 23 years here, many of them could have been solved if people had taken the advice that is now available. I'm very happy to hear that. We have, I think Innovation Home, what we can bring into the picture as well is that after all the classes you take and Well, there still are a lot of practical questions people seem to have. How I do this or how I do that. And I think, oh my God, and we already started helping you who maybe want to come to West Coast by having a home for your business. So you won't be homeless. You will have a home for your business. And we have built already our community, and it's getting bigger all the time. And our facility where we are now is in Santa Monica, 2 minutes from the beautiful beach, and that provides a perfect platform for outreach, local outreach, business outreach, or any type of community outreach events. So I'm very happy to be part of innovation and use this, what I have learned, and put it in good use for everyone. And here is my colleague.
Hey, I'm Sirpa Selanne, and nice to see you all, and thank you for the presentations. They were very interesting. I don't have a business background, but it's nice. I think I learn from you guys all the time, something new. But like Lena said, we are there in Santa Monica. I actually live in Orange County. I have lived in USA 26 years almost, and just being home with the kids. And then we actually opened a restaurant. So we have a beautiful steakhouse in Laguna Beach. Welcome, everybody. But now I'm very happy that I'm part of the Innovation Home LA, and I'm not that active. Lena does more, but I'm always here. You can always contact me too. And then whenever things happen, I will take my car and rush to Santa Monica and be there. And I hope I see a lot of you guys coming over, see the place, book your tickets from Finnair, straight flight, right? And come and see the office, meet us, and I'm sure there's a lot of small businesses in Finland that they would really benefit having like they little bit business here in USA too. But actually, we are not even in LA right now. We are in beautiful Maui, Hawaii, and there's so many birds, and they keep this little like nice noise behind us. And we were up so early that I didn't even have a chance to change my clothing. I'm still in my PJs, but the color matches the Innovation Home, like that sign. So I'm like, it doesn't matter. It's a PJ, but it's the right color. So that can do, right? So anyway, nice to see you all, your faces.
And think about the view that you will have in Santa Monica, because honestly, Hawaii isn't that different from the West Coast. I'm sure many of you here in the panel know it.
So we have oh, you can't really see. We have a beach background. We are in this
walking distance. Yeah.
That's so
pretty
beautiful.
much this is what you will see also on West Coast.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Lena and Sirpa. If we're talking about boots on ground, I can't think of anyone better to have there than you. So one opportunity is, of course, to have a membership at Innovation Home, where you have maybe some services here in Finland. You might work in one of our offices, but also take some global services from us. So if you're not in the US yet, you have the great chance to get some help from also the Innovation Home community and our experts there in Los Angeles. Perfect. Thank you so much for the possibility also for us to tell about Innovation Home. But right now, we have some questions. So first, I'm going to ask from there at Innovation Home Otaniemi. Do you have any questions there at the live event? So my colleague there, Riikka, has a microphone. If someone wants to ask a question directly from our experts, now is a great chance for that. Are there any brave people there? All right, we can get back to that as well. But Jeff, there was a question for you in the chat about what are the main problems, obstacles for international companies for US market entry based on your experience with gap companies?
Yeah, I wrote an answer. I think the two biggest, not necessarily in this order, is not having the appropriate financial resources, because it will take you longer and it costs more money than you expect, because things happen. But probably as important is, and I made this mistake, I'm not an academic, by the way, so I set up, I work for a company, some of you may be old enough to know about it, and I set up operations throughout Europe called Packard Bell. And the big mistake that I made when we did that is we put US executives in several foreign countries, and that was a disaster because we didn't understand the culture, we didn't understand the business practices, and we wasted a lot of money. So I think the other big obstacle is, hiring the right people to represent your company in the United States. And I wrote in the chat that, and we're trying to work with all of you. We have a center recruiting that helps all the students and alumni get jobs, or if they're looking for jobs, to find placement. And we have 40,000 just UCLA Anderson alumni. I mean, just so you know, UCLA as a campus has 40,000 students. The business school, Anderson, is a small part of that. So we can actually help you. We probably haven't used that efficiently over the years with you all. And we're happy to, if you're looking for people to work for your companies in the United States, we can see if we have an alum or a graduate. We have, from time to time, members of the teams that work with the projects actually are hired by the companies, even though they're not looking for a job. These are fully employed students. But I did a project years ago called Foot Balance. It's a Finnish company, and they hired one of the members to represent them in the US, and it was very successful. Those are probably the two biggest. Because we're not going to recommend that you come if we don't think your product has a chance of success. And if we do recommend you come, we may point you to a different vertical than what you were expecting. So I hope that answers the question.
Thank you so much. We had another question coming directly as a private message to me. I think this could be a great question for Petri to answer. The question is, what are the most common challenges that a Finnish company will face in the North American market? Do you think you could take this question?
Thank you, Outi. Yes, well, I think that the challenge is, of course, is that, we Finns are very good in technology, and we are fine-tuning everything in that. And you should be able to tell your story. You have to be proud of what you're doing, but you have to understand, what are you delivering for the customer? The customer is trying to earn money. They are making money from trying to use your product to make money. So how can you help them? You really have to understand what they are doing and how you help them to make money in their business. So it's not that you have a great product. It's about what you can do for the customer to be successful in their business.
Can I add one other thing that might, to the previous question in this one? One of the biggest other obstacles is the US is very large, and it's different in the West Coast than the East Coast and the South. And we have, depending on the industry you're in, we have a lot of regulatory issues that are state by state, federal mandated and regionally mandated, and then even city mandated. So just understanding that is that's why I think when Petri went through the resources, there are experts that you need to talk to in these various areas, or you can get lost very quick and spend a lot of money. So that I would add that also. Sorry to interrupt.
Very good addition. Thanks for that, Jeff.
Thank you both. So we actually have one question now there in the audience at Innovation Home Otaniemi. Just a second. So I'm gonna unmute you guys if you can and go ahead.
Hello, I'm Esa-Matti Harke from Malls of Globe. Thank you very much for your presentations. This is excellent information. I would like to ask the entrepreneur that how did you choose your form of entry? Because if you start your own company in each country you enter, that's a very slow way to get into the market. But you chose to start your own company instead of buying a company there or joining another professional already in the market.
You're asking for me? From
Yes.
Unique?
Yes, please. Or anybody else.
Yeah. So from our point of view, I didn't start the company. So company had already like 70 to 80 people, and there was a CEO standing in Finland on Tampere, and they were running operations there. And then they decided to go to US, and I needed to move to US. So then we decided to go with the same way. And to be successful here, we did a short study and decided to go with the UCLA's GAP program so that we would have understanding which side of the continent we should land, which could be the verticals and which would be then the correct product. So from that point of view, we started very lightweight with one man, two legs, and the rest of the team in Finland. So it's this GAP program and doing this kind of market research from Finland, it's very lightweight, but you can achieve a lot. So I hope this is answering your question.
And I can add something too. I mean, as part of the scope for the projects, if you go through our program or if you work with Team Finland, the scope could be find us distributors, resellers, value-added resellers, find us acquisition targets. So it's not just that you have to start your own company, but Team Finland, we and UCLA and the GAP projects will recommend attorneys, will recommend forms of entities if you do want to set up your own. But there's a lot of resources, and as your question says, there's many alternatives. So it's not one size fits all.
Thank you very much. But may I ask the cost of your program and the market research?
Yeah, so the program is, the cost of the program is consistent across all the programs. And for international companies, it's $20,000 US. I believe there's potentially some kinds of government help if you qualify. But of that amount, 60 to 65% goes towards the students' cost of travel to the home country, travel to trade conferences. We don't make money on this. This is just to hopefully break even, but it's a cost of $20,000. And I can tell you, I've participated and paid for 9 of these myself from my various companies and boards I sat on. You get close to 2,000 hours of work for that. It's very inexpensive.
Definitely, it sounds reasonable. Thank you.
Okay, I have 2 or 3 comments. Happy Thanksgiving next week, Jeff. And also, it's after a week. So my point is, this is really great, Jeff, and also the other guys on the panel, is because when you said that you don't only look at the team, for example, as the companies in LA and on the West Coast, but you also can recommend them. And this is the thing, many Finnish companies and Swedish and Nordic companies, they don't understand that USA is a continent. So I'm really happy that you spoke about this. This is really great. And I'm hoping that you guys will emphasize this much more, because LA and Los Angeles and the whole West Coast is totally different from doing business in Boston and New York. And I would like for you to just touch a little more basis when we are having a full house, Jeff, please. Thank you.
Well, it's not only, we have large metropolitan areas like Los Angeles or Boston or New York or Dallas, Texas. A lot of the companies, we recommend they go into rural areas that are underserved. So depending on what your product and service is, There are many different ways to enter the market. That's part of the research the students do. I would say, maybe, other people on the call, but I would say that it's not always come to Los Angeles. There's a lot of technology in Boston, on the East Coast, in Boston, New York, in Texas is another huge market. So it's not one size fits all, and the students will tell you where your customer base is depending on the vertical. So I thank you for bringing that up, because it isn't only Los Angeles, and that's why Team Finland, I think, and Petri has offices all over to help you in different geographic areas, and they are very different. The Deep South is nothing like Los Angeles, and even San Francisco is totally different than Los Angeles. Does that answer your question? Yeah.
Thank you so much again, Mr. Shinerock. And as Teemu mentioned there in the chat, the expenses from GAP can be funded by Business Finland, so that is also good to note. I think that concluded our questions that we had.
I think
yes.
Our Consulate General wants to say something, and then our entrepreneur.
Of course.
Yeah, thank you, Outi. I wanted to continue on the last question concerning the regional coverage. You mentioned, which I think was extremely important, you mentioned the Nordics as reference group, and that is what is often forgotten, that we are actually should be working together among Finnish companies. Many of the demand dimensions here actually relate to big projects, and Jussi mentioned a couple of examples how Unikia is part of a bigger offering. So because it was highlighted the services what Team Finland can provide, and we're happily doing this, that Business Finland and the Ministry for Foreign Affairs, but also the Chambers of Commerce, and it's an open network. Innovation Home is a company, but you provide soft landing places and co-working places here in LA, so it kind of fits very well to this this palette of services. But what I wanted to highlight is do seek for advice also among other companies, and also try to cooperate, try to create a joint offering, and keep in mind also the Nordic dimension. That's also what we here try to build and enhance, because we consider that through the Nordic cooperation we have better chances to raise awareness, and we have a motto that cooperate when it's possible and compete when it's necessary. And I have to say, I've been here only for 2.5 months, and based on my predecessor's work, who's actually Stefan is present there in Otaniemi, if he hasn't yet left, that's the path that we are going to continue. Enhance the Nordic cooperation and trying to bring the Finnish companies together, not only serving them as individuals. Thank you.
Thank you, Okko-Pekka. There, Jussi, did you have something you wanted to add?
One adding here to this price and this GAP program. So this is totally like a no-brainer. So the money that you are spending here is pretty like a peanut. And of course, after that, it requires your own footwork and mentality. So of course, nothing can be like totally given for you. So you need to do your own part as well. But definitely, I mean that this money that you need to spend here is coming, well, the value that you are getting from the program is so significant that I believe all the companies should be doing this kind of thing for all the places around the world when they are thinking about going international. Thank you.
Thank you. Petri.
Thank you, Outi. And just to kind of complement to what Okko-Pekka said about this Nordic cooperation. So these Nordic innovation houses, which we are working together in New York and in Silicon Valley, those are already places where you can get into the Nordic ecosystem, new Nordic community. So please bear that in mind also when you are thinking about your activities in the States.
Perfect, thank you. I just got a message that there would be one more question in Innovation Home Otaniemi.
Yes, this was a follow-up for you guys. And that's what I'm very happy, because I'm American myself, as you all can tell by my accent and everything. What I like this information because Finland is too small by itself to compete with the Nordics, including Iceland as well. This works much better when you are thinking about Nordic innovation, because Finland and Sweden are about the same level now. And now Walt has given Finland back to about the same level, which was 3-4 years ago with Supercell. So therefore, Estonia has been kicking out the most unicorns in the last 5 to 8 years. And I really love the information when you speak Nordics, because I think that a country of 5 million can't make it in such a big area like LA or California or just in general. But when you are having Estonia and you are speaking about Norway, you are speaking Denmark, you are speaking Sweden, I think this is what Americans like, Nordic innovation. And when you think about the innovation house, you can have different nationalities working together hand in hand. And I think you should really take this brand further and sell Nordic innovation, because most Americans, they don't know where Finland is. And this is what I've been trying to tell people. If you go to the southern states, they think Finland is near Philadelphia. You know, is it still owned by Russia? They will say to me. Yeah, and I say, have you been to Europe? Yeah, I've been to the UK. You know, I've seen Big Ben. And that's why I think when you think about Nordics, then you get a much better brand. And this is the way to go forward. And this is the point for Petri and Business Finland. Think Nordics, because most Americans, they don't know where Finland is. You guys have to really focus and think Nordic brand, not Finland. They think Nokia from Japan if you go to Tennessee. Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful comments, wonderful questions. I think we are running a little bit behind. Yes, Jussi.
Yeah, just one adding here about the Nordic collaboration and getting to the US. So this is exactly what we did. So we found our location from the Nordic Innovation House in Silicon Valley in Palo Alto. So then this is exactly what you are thinking, like going international or going to the US. This is exactly the way that what you can do. You can do the GAP program, and then you can get your office, virtual office from the Palo Alto and get the collaboration with Finland, Norway, Sweden, and Denmark at the same time. And it has been really beneficial for us from that point of view. Thank you.
Thank you. Great to hear from someone who has been there and done it. So we are reaching the end of our event. So at this point, I would like to thank everyone who participated in this event, our wonderful guests, the people who arrived to the live event at Otaniemi, and also who have been here in the Zoom event. So we will be reaching out to you tomorrow. We would like to get feedback from you about this event, and we will also be sharing the contact information for all of our experts. So if you have any further questions, you can reach out to them. So also on my behalf, thank you so much for everyone. And have a great day in California and good evening here in Finland. Thank you.
Thanks for doing
Thank you, Outi. Thank you, colleagues. Great.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.